Piyush, of course, had very simple but profound advice on creativity. How do you make sure that legacy is not forgotten, is not perhaps fossilized? How do you make sure that the essence of what he said is not lost in translation with, of course, everything that's happening? Have you all thought about this? Is that something that you all, proactively think about and do, maybe when you talk to your people, clients? How do you sort of preserve the essence of what he said and believed in, more importantly?
I think what Kainaz has said, I think by creating the kind of work that we have all learnt under him and, seen first, learnt, worked with him to, and like you said, I think he was the least complex human being around. And when everyone spoke in jargons, and this business people love jargons, okay, the more the jargons, I think they feel more, they have achieved something. And he used to de-jargonify everything. And that's what and I feel the best way, his legacy is all about the work that makes you smile, cry, get angry, feel something. Everything that we had to do for a project, for something. It was not, and I remember I used to always say that, it's not pure creativity, it's commercial creativity. So you have to do something, for somebody. So I feel, and we have a thing, what would Piyush do? It's one of those, things that we always say, and even often, by the way, when you're around, we always say, what would Piyush do? It's a very beautiful thing to ask, because whenever I had to go to him, I would leave the room stunned as I thought, as youngsters, you always feel like you know it all. And then you go and you have a problem and you come out and think, how did he do that? How did he think like that? So I think he used to always impress me personally, for example, by the simplicity of his thinking. And I would love to, ensure that we carry that along and create work that makes him laugh, makes him smile, and makes him cry. Because everything, you knew, there was a thing. If the work, if his reaction was, a laughter or a cry or a tear, the work is going to make. Because it was amazing, he knew what India would react to. So that was, I think, and that's something we all have. What would Piyush do is a very interesting thing that we all have. And it's something that we have to create, and we have to just build a body of work that, and that time will tell. Hopefully we will continue to do that. And that just shows what he's taught us and what he's taught a whole lot of people here, the entire institution that we have.
Work that he'd be proud of.
Yep.
Kainaz?
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
please go ahead. Tell me,
I think
how do you make sure that you have that legacy while always being relevant to what's happening around us?
Yeah, so I think a decade and a half with Piyush, 25 years with Piyush, he's in our subconscious by now. Okay, it's not about a book of learnings, or that every morning I have to think and remember that Piyush was this kind of a man and he believed in extreme creativity. So that is one part of it. He's in our subconscious. His learnings, his culture it's within us. It lives in us, I would say that. The second thing that I would say is that in 2020, when the three of us took up the leadership of Ogilvy, we were handpicked by Piyush. So he must be having that confidence in us that we will be able to take the legacy that he so beautifully created ahead.
The culture.
And the culture that he created, and sort of keep it relevant, keep it fresh, keep it all of that. In the last 5 years, the number of times that Piyush has called us to tell us that he was so proud of a piece of work that we have created, whether it's content, whether it's film, whether it's something to do with tech, or our favorite word, AI, whatever it might be. Every time you would receive a call like that, we believed that we are doing something right. So I think the time now for us is to keep that belief and keep moving forward. Like Piyush would say, aage badho.
Absolutely. Love that. Harshad, how do you go ahead? How do you
the factor
proceed?
Of going ahead, the sweetest thing about the way Ogilvy has coped with this loss. And I say that sweetest because I think Piyush ensured that if I were to use a beautiful analogy, it was like a serene flowing stream. Even when he was around, it's not like things were so insulated. Where, of course, because of our size, there was probably, for ease of convenience, probably the three of us were far more closely linked to him when it came to taking in of teachings, learnings, and everything that Kainaz spoke about. It resides in us. It was a part of us. And at that time also, when it would come to imparting, corrections or sessions with our teams, our juniors, automatically that flow of that river was already happening, because we were on autopilot. But when you work with a force like Piyush and when you work with a benchmark of that standard, automatically you're holding yourself at the upper end to it, because whatever you present to him better be up to his standards. And when you're judging work, you're automatically kind of implementing some of the things that you're learning over there. So even without realizing, we have realized that so many of the things which he stood for, the values of the work, or the way you spot an idea, we have already been implementing it whenever we have kind of dealt with our juniors. And they in turn, I would say, even a senior Ang who works with us, say our ECDs, they are doing that. So a little bit of Piyushism has seeped into the very soil of this place. So I think that's wonderful. So we never really had to kind of, look at a point where, oh gosh, Piyush has stopped being with us at this point, because we know that what he has set in place, which is the most important thing, the culture, that flows through us. We are good conductors of that culture, of that electricity that he was. And I think we are fairly confident that Piyush would have loved us to kind of just look at the road ahead. Because I don't know whether you must have seen this or you must have probably interacted with him. He never ever dwelled on the past. Never
Move
once. Like, we have been through the worst meetings, and sometimes we would shudder that, hey, I think that meeting went off really well. Let's see how Piyush takes it. Let's see. Let's see how
Aage
Piyush
badho.
takes it. Will he be?
Yeah.
He just stepped out and said, we were confident when we went into that meeting about the work. I still believe in it. The clients had their reasons for not believing in it. It doesn't change a thing. I love the work. Aage badho. Tomorrow is another match. Forget about this. And that is, I think, exactly how he's built this culture. He would like it the most if we just kind of hear his booming optimistic mantra of aage badho, because we know that the values and the lessons that he's kind of planted over here are only going to blossom.
Yeah, and I think that what we have put up on the entrance, which is front foot play halo. Front foot play halo was, I don't think we ever walked into anything not being confident and not being, and it is a subjective business. What we know best, we come across, and then someone can. And I think that has a huge, if you don't believe in your work yourself, and if you don't, it's not confident. And I think I see a lot of that trait in youngsters who never met him also, by the way. It's amazing how confident they come and say, they're so sure of it. And sometimes it's incredibly amazing, to see that. And I ask myself, was I like that when I was like 2 years or 3 years in the business? I really wonder that, was I? And it's nice to see that people, and the best part is, like I said, many of us were lucky to work with him. First I remember I ran away from him, then I worked with him, then I worked very closely with him, because all those emotions I went through, because he was Piyush Pandey. And there are people who hardly worked, with him, but they imbibe that feeling, that they have that feeling, and which is what matters, because we all about our culture. It's the culture that drives us. It's the belief that makes us believe in a certain way. And I think we do the work we do, or we create what we create because what we believe in. Because we have no doubt in what we believe in. And I think as long as that belief stays intact, we will hopefully make the man laugh and feel good about us.
But I think the telling mantra from all the Piyushisms which have come to kind of stay with us would be this thing that Kainaz said. We have heard it so many times, but somehow, and with great blessings and optimism, we can almost hear his voice in our hearts saying, wherever you are, aage badho. Like,
I love
just,
that.
tomorrow is another match. Go
I
play
love
it.
that. That's the
Enjoy.
spirit. That's the spirit.